Hi everyone, it's Nat here. Today I'd just like to show you some things I've made out of old book pages. Someone in one of my groups has requested things made from book pages, so I thought I'd give it a go and make some basic items just to use up some of the scraps and that. So firstly I wanted to make a little folder to put all the goods in for her. So I had this old art book that had pages that were made out of this cardboard, and I thought that was quite sturdy enough, so basically I just folded the base up and then folded it over like that, like a book, and that made a nice little folder. And then I just cut a wedge and did the corners a bit, which I'll show you in a minute, just so it closed a bit nicer and looked a bit neater. And so this is it. So as you can see, I've covered it in old book page, and then I've used the dust cover of an old book to decorate it with, which I love because it's such a shame to waste these. And then I've just used distress ink to do these little decorations as well. And it's got eyelet lace on the spine, and then there's the back of the book cover as well. And then I've just inked around the edges. I've used the crocodile to insert some eyelets, just to put some clothing, and I used this red ribbon because I thought it would go nicely with the curtains in the picture. Now on the inside I found some more old book pictures which I thought were really cool, so I've put them in. They're very retro, and a bit more distress ink stamping. And then as you can see, I cut out a wedge. Now I eyeballed this, so it's quite messy actually, but just to make it a little neater. So I think that's quite effective. Now to put in it, firstly I made some journaling tags. Now the inspiration that I got for these came from a video I watched from Bonnie and Clive. Thank you, Bonnie. Where she made some collage tags with butterflies on them, with old book pages. So basically for these ones I just grabbed an old book page and I folded it in half like that, and then I just trimmed whichever sides to make it the size that I wanted, and ended up like this, and I glued it down. So, and then from there I've got my scrap box, which Bonnie calls her crap box, which gave me a good giggle. And I used all these bits of scrap, some of the like serrated edge bits, and you know, I even used some of my cutouts from my punches, old stamps on paper, music paper, all that sort of stuff. And just kept grabbing out bits until I thought they looked all right. So, and that's how I did the background. I also have like all my offcuts of fabric and lace and bits and pieces that I add to these as well. So yeah, I just did the background till I was happy with it, and then I fussy cut these flower pictures out of a book page and stuck them on, and I used my fabric glue basically for the whole lot. And I also stuck you know, what the plant is and some information about it there as well. Some of the edges of the scraps I inked around and some I didn't, just depending on the look I was going for. Now, a lot of these ideas would have come from watching a video that Gail Agostinelli did on pockets and that. She compiled a whole lot that she got from people like Patricia Viramontes and others, compiled them all into one video, which was great. So one day I sat down and just followed that video and did about 10 of each, which was really handy. And I made all these little pockets and tucks. You know, so I'm going to put some of these in the package so that the lovely lady can decorate them herself, but I can also use them to slip my little journal cards in and that into the folder. So I'll be doing that. Now I made this one as well. Basically it's just the old music page with some tea stained paper, and I glued it down roughly with some glue stick and then sewed around the edges. And then I just folded it sort of like an envelope so it can be stuck in, opened up and journaled on. Now also with my journaling cards, I did stick some tea stain paper on the back as well, so they can be used to journal on. It's another idea from Gail's video, and I just did some stamping and die cut out some butterflies so that they can be used for decorations. Now I also used my Big Shot with this big die, and what I could do was layer the cardboard that came from that art book. I used this cardboard, layer that with some of the book paper to cut out multiple pieces to be able to make these tags. So there's the cardboard and the book page, and that way they're all the same size, ready to go, and you just glue them together. Now with those, I just stamped them and distress inked around them, and then I used embroidery thread. And I made a few different ones of those, just using different coloured inks. I think they're quite effective. I really like them, very simple. And there are a couple more of my collage journaling cards, and on these I used the dust cover. The spine of it was very broken up, so I used pieces of that on these journaling cards just to add a bit of colour, and I really like the way they turned out. And on this one I had some stamped book pages like this that I fussy cut out and just used them to add a bit of a focal point to that. And this was just a stamp bit that I had done and didn't like. It didn't work out very well, so I just threw that into my scrap box, and you know, just use bits of that too. A little bit of ribbon, black ribbon, a little bit of cotton threading that come off some clothes. It's amazing what scraps you can use, and I actually really like the way it looks. A bit of tissue paper, stamps. There's a bit of napkin here. I find it really hard to throw anything out, so it all goes into my scrap bin. I was going to put this stamp up there. I did not like the way it looked, so I ripped it up, which, you know, felt bad ripping it up, but I like the way it looks broken like that. So now I also made, these can be used as tuck spots or journaling cards. Basically it was just the music sheet paper with the tea stained paper on the back again and sewed around. And I decorated a few of those. So there's that one. I've distress inked this one a fair bit, and it has some hessian. And then a bit of this sort of chill stuff over the top. I like the way that looked, so the hessian wasn't so harsh. And I fussy cut these plant pictures out of a gardening book, and then added some stamps. Then this one, which I love, it's the same deal, just the music page with the tea dyed and sewed around. And then I've got I think it was bias binding, the blue stuff in the back here, and I wanted to make it not stand out so much, that's why I put it under the lace, but I like the blue because it goes with this lady's dress. And then I've got a bit of eyelet cream lace here, and then this is another picture cut out of a book. Now I didn't like how it looked where the picture was cut down here, so I stuck the pink lace over the top, and I really like the way that's turned out. This corner was a bit blank, so I added a bit more hessian there, and then I managed to find some buttons which sort of went with the colours on the dresses. So I really like that one. It could probably do with a saying somewhere, but sometimes I go overboard and do too much and then don't like it, so I thought I'd leave it while I liked it. And last of all, I had made these bookmarks. So the way I did those was I grabbed, now it was 2 pieces of book page, I'm pretty sure, just to keep it nice and sturdy. and I glued those two pieces together and then just folded them, overlapped a little bit and stuck them down so it ends up like that. And then you can just trim the ends off to make it the length you like. And then I stuck the tea-dyed paper onto either side. It doesn't really matter because you're sticking things on both sides. And then with that you get a bit of fabric. I think I've got a piece here. I've got all this beautiful purple fabric that I found. And I just cut a bit of fabric that I could stick down there. And then I have this box full of my die cut scraps. I've just got piles of them, but I can't bear to part with them either. So sometimes I'll rip them up and use them on collages and that. But see, I've got all these ones that I did out of paper to get the paper butterflies. So basically you just stick that down on top like that and then cut around it and you've got your bookmark. And then I just used some thin washi tape and folded it over the edges. It's a nice matching colour. And then I put a little eyelet, a little silver eyelet in there and just used some ribbon to finish it off. And I really like that, it's pretty. And then I remembered that when I was doing all the pockets from Gail's video, that there was one here and it fit perfectly in there. So to get it to match, I die cut some butterflies out of the same material that I used here. And I stuck one of those on. I've also put another one in backed with some paper. There's a little embellishment she can use. And then I just stamped another butterfly there. So I think that's worked really nicely. So yes, I hope she's happy with the things that I've made. It was great fun doing all of that. And it's amazing what you can make with old book pages. So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day, guys. See you later.